that's my turn. So I still live about 25 minutes from Greenville downtown. So that's the turn right there. So anyway, and you know, and that's the shortest ride that you can do here in Greenville, going up the mountain.
You know, that area, you're in some of the best riding in the country. I said, in that area, you're in some of the best riding in the country, in the foothills of Western North Carolina. So you can hit Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina in the same day very easily. It's beautiful riding.
Yeah. Pisgah National Park would take me probably about an hour to get to Pisgah, and then go up to the Blue Ridge Parkway. So in about an hour and a half, I would be on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's beautiful right now. It really is. But it's been raining here so much.
I can do a 3-hour loop and hit Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia pretty easy from Chattanooga. Yep. So you're right. It's easy riding.
Easy. Now Chattanooga is a long haul for me.
Yeah, I've done that ride. I've done over and back in a day. I went over to look at a piece of real estate. So I know the Greenville ride real well. Best way is to take US 76 across the top of Georgia.
Yep.
But it's not the most scenic. Yep. We came close to Caesar's Head. In fact, I think we may have even ridden through it during the waterfall ride a few years back. I can't remember where we didn't drop off at we didn't go to Caesar's Head, but I've been there.
Close.
You hit Helen, Georgia, high, and then you go right into Tennessee, hang a left, and you go over to, it's going towards Knoxville.
Yeah, it's nice when you come out of Helen and you go north and you come up into Franklin or Murphy, and that's where you really get the good roads. The 76 through Blue Jay, Ella J and Blue Ridge and all that isn't really as much fun as the other road. 64 coming from Franklin is a lot of fun.
64.
But yeah, we're in fact, I think we're talking about having an IFMR ride, either working out of Maggie Valley or something like that. So I'll be helping to set that up.
There
I
you
think.
go.
That would be
Yep,
great.
Maggie Valley.
That would be awesome.
It is fun. I mean, if I laugh about that waterfall ride when we did it out of Cashiers because it was so daggum hot because we did it in June, and as long as we were up on top of the mountain, it was fine. But when we went down in the valley, down towards Brevard, it got toasty real fast.
So have you visited Wheels Through Time? Maggie Valley?
Visited where?
That is a good place to go. Wheels Through Time.
The museum.
I heard of that one. I haven't been either.
Yeah, in Maggie Valley.
I have not been to it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's the
nice thing about
if you'll have an opportunity to go to
where I
Maggie
am here in Chattanooga is I can do the I can do the Cherahalla and Dragon in a loop in a day, and it's
the thing I like about Wheels Through Time is that every bike there he has running. It is they all run.
Yeah. The 1913
the Cherahalla is at least a
you guys get that to the
safer
Birmingham?
ride. The Dragon's just too daggum dangerous now. But you know, when we did the
Dragging the
Townsend
tourists
ride a
down.
few years
Way
ago,
over.
yeah, well, it's fun, and I've done that plenty of times. It's great early morning when there's not anybody on it. But you know, we did the Rattler, which runs from Maggie Valley up to Hot Springs, North Carolina, during the Townsend ride a few years back. And that was a lot of fun. I had never ridden it before until then. So obviously that'll be something to look at. And we came down it. I'd like to go up it because you can always go faster going up than you can coming down. So.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Tom, you say you live near Townsend?
I live in Chattanooga.
I used to get out there every spring with a bunch of guys.
We go up through
Best
Townsend a lot. And,
do you? Okay.
yeah, it's
Every
an
spring we have a
easy,
bunch of
you know, I
buddies
could
who
be
ride
over
out
there in
there.
a couple,
Best I
in
can
about an
do.
hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Always,
Nice.
I'm always looking for a time to ride.
Yeah, there's a place. All right. To drop you guys a line when the next year's May ride is
All
there,
right.
and the whole travel scare is kind of blown over. But
I'm
You
gonna
know, the nice thing
interrupt
about
here.
motorcycle
Sorry, I was
riding
late,
is
guys. I was
it's
stuck
pretty
in traffic
pretty
coming
safe from
back from
COVID.
Winter Haven. So we have Wayne in the meeting, and he's going to be talking to us about disaster aid tonight. Wayne, are you on? I have a really bad connection for some reason. I see that he's here.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
He's unmuted. There he is. So why don't you go ahead and tell us, go ahead and give us your spiel. This is Wayne.
All right, so first of all, how long would you guys, I'm a fellow Rotarian, so I hate to go over, how long would you like me to speak?
You've got
20
half
minutes,
an hour,
30 minutes,
40
5
minutes. No, half an hour or
all right.
half an hour. I don't know if you can hear me.
All right.
Everything's breaking up really bad.
I can.
So half an
So
hour,
first of
40
all, I
minutes.
will
We
do-
close at 8, so you're good.
Okay. So first of all, you guys are fellow Rotarians, and I'm a Rotarian. I didn't know that there was an E-club for motorcycle riding. So I'm probably the most uncoolest person in this entire group, because I'm usually the guy in the back holding on for dear life because I don't ride at all. I'm horrible at it. My cousin knows I'm on Facebook right now. She's probably laughing at me because she married my cousin, Dean Beaumier. And just so you know, I tried to ride this bike. He's got a 1980 Harley Davidson Dyna Y-Glide. The first year it came out, even though it had the AMC sticker on the side, it is one of those experimental bikes that just kicks butt. It's 1,340 cc, and I rode it one time, and I thought I was going to die. So I've never been on a bike. I was going to buy this bike from him and make it into a three-wheeler because I'm such a wimp. So the fact that you guys are Rotarians and you have the cojones to ride a bike on the street, God bless you. So I'm probably the uncoolest person here. So I'm going to talk about disaster aid. I know what your district's doing for COVID-19 with the 100,000 mask challenge, which is really cool. I'm going to kind of just briefly talk about what we do as disaster aid and kind of how it morphed into what we call COVID-19 response as a district. I'm from 5890, which is Houston, Texas area. And probably our claim to fame for that is the fact that we're your host for 2021 for International Convention, and the fact that we are going to, that we lived through Harvey. So let me pull up and talk about disaster aid and how many people are new Rotarians, if I can ask that in the little chat group. If you want to raise your hand or tell me who's new, because we're gonna play a little game today. let me check the chat box. So if you're new to Rotary, I'm one of those speakers that I hate to be boring. We're going to have a little contest, and you're going to probably get I'll send you a Harley Davidson chip that I got from the Harley Davidson Museum when I was up in Milwaukee. If you win it, so I'm going to pick on Terry Moore. Is going to keep score since he's got the cool background. So Terry, if somebody wins this, I owe you the chip from the Harley Davidson Museum, which I've been to when I was up in Milwaukee. So Disaster Aid USA is a Rotary Club project, and usually, first of all, Terry, thumbs up. Am I good on sound? I forgot to check. Sounds good, and you can see my presentation. Okay, so Disaster Aid USA is what I do in Rotary. We have 17 trailers that go around the country and clean up after a domestic storm. So the little short white guy in the left, that's me with the white hat. That's Larry AG with the yellow hat, our executive director. And we go around after a storm and we clean up. It's one of the things that we like to do. We're a true disaster aid. Our disaster aid is a true Rotary Club project. We were founded out of Rotary District 7620 out of Washington, D.C. None of us take a salary. We're 100% volunteer. So if something I talk about piques your interest as a Rotarian, just let me know afterwards, and we're glad to get you connected. I'm kind of here to talk about what we do and how we do it. I always talk about this, but 82% of all the money that is given to disaster aid, we put back in the field. And people say, why do you keep 18%? And I'll tell you why. Because we have to pay for pets and zone like everybody else. Believe it or not, we don't get to go to zones and pets for free as a Rotary Club project, which is just how it is in the Rotarian world. Incorporated out of Washington, D.C. in 2010, and a lot of the original members of Disaster Aid were Shelter Box, and Shelter Box is a fabulous, wonderful Rotary project. If you don't know about Shelter Box, I know your district gives to it. Shelter Box does tents and a little bit of water filtration, and that's what we also do. But after tents and water filtration, we are just a totally kind of different organization. We work shoulder to shoulder with Shelter Box when we're deployed international, but we're the only domestic program that Rotary has. So if something happens like it did here in Harvey, anything that happens in Metropolis, Illinois, there's a trailer up there that we will respond if we've got the volunteers and the funds. Like any other organization, we're set up. Every board member you see, from our founder, Bob Grill, down to Scott, are all from the same Rotary Club. And then here's the fun part. If you know what a Rotary Zone is, type it into the chat before I tell you what it is, and Terry will tell you who is first to respond, is what is a Rotary Zone? So I'll give you a hint. You're in a Rotary Club, you're the E-Club Motorcycle Riding Club, you're part of a district, so what is a zone? And we'll just let them type, and who's ever first with the proper one, Terry, we will, that's one chip I owe you. And I'll go to the next slide so I don't bore you to death as a Rotarian. And where it says, where you see like Rotary Zone 28, we don't have a director there. So I'm actually the director of Zone 21B. And that is a Rotary Zone. So my job at first, I'm in charge of Zone 21B, which is this little part, magenta part of Texas, not of, Mexico. There's Zone 31, and you guys are spread out as an E-Club, so you may be in Zone 25, Zone 26, Zone 32. And then the second question is, how are zones set up? So if you do the first answer of what zone you were in or what is a zone, how are zones actually set up? And I'll wait a whopping 10 seconds as Terry keeps score. So I'm in charge of Zone 21B, and then my buddy who's up in Boise, Idaho's in charge of Zone 27. So he's got 13 states, and I have a part of one state. So that is how Rotary sets up, and those are the old zones. Those will change come July 1 when we start the new Rotary year. And then, of course, we're going to lose a couple zones due to membership. So if you don't know that, that's why I'm always recruiting Rotarians, whether you're, if you're not in Rotary, I always tell people, why aren't you in Rotary? So these are our current zones, and this is how I'm set up. So I'm in charge of Zone 21B, and then I got elevated up to executive director / chairman of the board 2 years ago because Bob is 83 and I'm only 53. So he told me I'm now in charge, and he'll send all the thank you notes out. So let me show you how we set this thing up. Oh, I hate when it says internet connection unstable. So you guys are an E-Club, but disaster aid is actually part of what we call an RAG, which I hate that acronym that we always use in Rotary, but it stands for Rotary Action Group. So the third contest is what's the difference between a Rotary Action Group and a fellowship? For example, there's a fellowship for motorcycle Rotarians, and a lot of my district down here in Houston are in that fellowship. The third question for a poker chip is what is the difference between an action group and a fellowship? So I'm actually in the beer fellowship, what a surprise. I'm in the wine fellowship, what a surprise. I'm in the whiskey fellowship. I'm also a longtime scouter, so I'm also in the International Fellowship of Scouting Rotarians. So the third question, the third contest is what is that difference? And I'll let Terry keep score. So this is my current board of directors. So the way disaster aid is set up as a Rotary Club project, my club is Cypress Fairbanks, sponsored me into disaster aid. They pay for the trailer. And then I set up my board per my district. This is my current board. This is the training that we do for people for domestic. And I'll get off of this quickly and talk about what we're doing for COVID. So if you're retired, if you're a retired police officer, a firefighter, a nurse, or a doctor, you understand the FEMA training and when we get into emergency management. I do all of my training through Salvation Army or the Red Cross because they will give you credentials as Rotarians if you pull up to a disaster site like I do for I do as disaster aid. The only credentials we have, and I know that we're big bad Rotarians, but no one's ever heard of us. So I do all my training through Salvation Army. So when you actually pull up to a disaster site, you're credentialed. You're allowed to be there. So I'm a guy that swings the hammer. We do a bunch of muck and gutting, which you'll see pictures of. And I always forget to talk about this, but the part we're always missing is point of distribution management. Are you good at passing out or taking in contributions? We've got Rotary clubs that show up that are cook teams. We've got mental health and stress management professionals, actual doctors and nurses that show up as Rotarians that want to be involved in domestic disasters. I am fantastic at chainsaw and debris, but I am not good at rescue diving or fire and rescue. And then of course we have water filtration teams. So we tie all this in, which you'll hear me talk about VOAD. VOAD is an organization that is made up of what we are called NGOs, non-government organizations. Rotary is a member of the VOAD here in Houston and in 13 VOADs across the country. So let's say something happens I'm going to pick on the person who set me up, something happens in Seattle. I would call the local VOAD and tell them that we've got 10 trailers that can come through Seattle to help them. So then I would work through VOAD and of course through the Rotary clubs as we come to help people. These are some of the domestic deployments that we've done. The ones that are in yellow are still going on. For example, we went to Panama City 4 times. We sent tents over to Hawaii, believe it or not, just like Shelterbox did, because people wanted to live in tents while they were, watching their homes burnt down. We've been to Puerto Rico 3 times, which is really not, still domestic since it's a territory. So anything in yellow means it's still open by FEMA. And then the tornadoes that you see in Monroe and Garland are all physically closed by FEMA. So we've been to 28 different domestic deployments. These are not all of them. And this is how we do. We just take a trailer. This is my trailer for my district down here in Houston. It's full of muck and gut buckets from United Methodist. The Sawyer filters are to the right. And then of course a big water one wagon if I want to filter water. So we call this the DART training. This is our last international DART. All but 3 are from the US. The rest are from the UK. And they came into the DC area to be trained by myself and Larry to be what we call DARTs, which they'll go out and be deployed. So they get to share a tent together. They get to sit in class and listen to water filtration and how to set up a point of distribution and how, no offense, how Rotarian talks to a Rotarian, how a club talks to a club, and of course, how a governor talks to a governor in Rotary as we turn the Rotary wheel when something happens. They get to camp out in big tall grass and tear that tent down and move it around. On the left, there's our executive director, Larry, talking about water filtration. That little sky hydrant, let me pull it up. That little sky hydrant does about 5,000 gallons a day with no moving parts. and we've installed 500 of those around the world, from everywhere from the Philippines to right below me in Mexico City. So we just don't do domestic, we still do international deployments with 8 other countries that make up Disaster Aid International. So if you want to do domestic, love to have you. You want to put your bike on a plane and take it overseas, love to have you. That is a typical what you look like after mucking and gutting a house. And the reason why all those Rotarians are wearing Operation Blessing t-shirts is we show up as Rotarians. We support whoever the city put in charge. That happens to be Denham Springs, Louisiana. And they chose Operation Blessing. North of I-12 and south of I-12, they took the Samaritan's Purse. So even though they asked me to wear their shirt, when you pull up with a 16-foot trailer with a rotary wheel, they know that Rotarians are out there doing the work. I'll quickly go through Hurricane Harvey because we're still, believe it or not, we still got about 1,500 homes here in Houston never touched. And this is our typical mutt and gut. That's our executive director, Larry Agee, on the right. That big kid on the left is a 14-year-old Interact kid that was out there physically helping. This is a handicapped girl, physically putting it into a boat. So not only do we do muck and gut, not only do we do commercial drying of homes, we actually have a boat in the Cajun Navy. And I was stuck in Houston and couldn't get to Beaumont. So Larry came from, if you look at a map, he came from Louisiana. And this is the very first home we did in Harvey. This is Rotarian's home, and that is 38 years of stuff on the tree lawn after only a foot of water in his house. We had to gut his entire house out. So if you've got a lot of stuff in your closets and you live on the Gulf Coast, I would suggest you get it up high. So on the right-hand side, that's Bill Hall. He's our longtime parliamentarian. This is just us fellow Rotarians, including our RCC president at the time, Dorden. He became the Winter Soldier, and him and I were physically cutting an ode that's tongue and groove, 1/4 inch, actually that's 3/8 inch, old tongue and groove oak that is actually pitched and tarred to a cement floor in Houston back from the 60s. So what I love about doing disaster aid is I tell people, you just show up in your Rotary shirt. That's Joe on the left wearing his M-Polio now. That's me wearing a shirt from a fundraiser from a fellow Rotarian club that we do. So we just say, show up, help us muck and gut a house. The picture on the left is really what happens, and the picture on the right is what FEMA. So if you ever come to a training class, I would teach you that this is how it's supposed to be on the right. But I'm telling you, in real life, we just stack it up on the tree lawn and pray to God that they come pick this up. So we go around. These are fellow Rotarians, both on the left and right. The couple on the left is Jerry Moore, and he is actually a regional manager for Liberty Mutual, and he lets me say this. He forgot to renew his flood insurance. So we did a muck and gut for his house, which was about a 5,000 square foot house in Katy, Texas, and saved him about $10,000. What I love about Jerry is prior to him having me come to his house, since he was physically under 8 foot of water for 4 weeks, he came and learned how to muck and gut. So if you look on the right-hand picture, that's an actual, we did his entire cul-de-sac. We did all 12 homes as disaster aid, a Rotary Club project, is free for people. So we'll muck and gut for free. That's a typical look. I'm usually, this is self put on. I'm Captain America during a disaster. I'm the disaster chair for my district, and once a disaster hits, I never answer the phone. So I make my buddy to my right there, he's actually a financial advisor, so he's at the office 24 hours a day. He actually answers the phone for me, because during a disaster, I don't return a phone call to the governor, my wife, my girlfriend, your girlfriend. I never answer the phone because I'm mucking and gutting and I'm running, believe it or not. We actually took ourselves and multiplied ourselves to 12 other clubs in our district. We did over 250 homes during Harvey. So it's a great PR for Rotary. This is a typical mutt and gut. I'm not zooming in on her, but her boots, that is what we call a muck and gut. That water went 8 feet into the ceiling, into a suburb that was not supposed to be hit in the Houston area. That was a fellow Rotarian's home that all of us showed up to go do. The E Club showed up, traditional clubs showed up, any of the interactors, rotaractors. That is doesn't look like much, but that is about a 1/4 inch of fine silk mud that completely destroyed Elaine's Combs home down in Wharton, Texas. And here's a cool part, and I'm gonna just throw my Rotary hat on. We were donated a commercial drying unit from Mark and Nancy Matthews out of La Mesa, California, and they actually came into town for over 8 weeks to help us learn how to do this. So what I tell my district, if anybody, a church member, anybody from anyone who's underserved, anyone who's not insured, I can physically come dry a house out in 24 hours. A typical drying job that you get from Service Master. It's about a $10,000 service that we do as Rotarians if someone doesn't have the insurance for it. So I always remind my fellow Rotarians, if a disaster happens, we've got 1 trailer working on a district grant for 2 more, that we will go around and clean up after just a hot water tank breaks and poor person doesn't have the insurance for it. These are the kind of the boring pictures of what we call a point of distribution up in the left-hand corner. It doesn't sound like much, but you're looking at over 20,000 pounds of water that we have to take care of. So if you're good at logistics, which I am not, that's us taking over the logistics area of a church that got 20,000 pounds of water. And it got so bad that water spoiled because people kept sending, hate to say it, water and dirty clothes. So if you're good at point of distribution and love that logistics part, would love to have you. That's just us blowing off steam. I'm pretending to be sleeping in the back of a pickup truck. The big thing we always do, and I always forget to talk about it, and you'll see a brief thing on water filtration, is that during a hurricane, we usually have what we call a boil alert. So we have a team that do nothing but filter water during the day. And you say, why in the world would you filter that much water? And those are food grade bladders, because you have to cook for sometimes over 5,000 people. So imagine cooking for 5,000 people with contaminated water. So sometimes all we do, and this team behind us to the right, all they did all day was filter water. So when we came back from doing our service work, we can actually cook for the volunteers. These are just pictures of a typical tornado. It's actually the first one I ever worked on. And this is the last slide that I'm going to talk about domestic. These 4 Rotarians you see in the picture, they actually went up as crisis counselors for us from all over the country. They flew in. And after, and this, if you can go look, the Moore, Oklahoma tornado went over a school and killed 26 children. So here you are with Rotarians that are crisis counselors. And they said, you know what, Wayne, we're done. We need a few days out in the field. We could just swing a hammer and release the stress. So what we love about being fellow Rotarians and volunteers is you may go up as a cook. You may go up like me, running a backhoe and a forklift, but we let you do whatever you want to do. We're all volunteers. I love the service that Rotarians gave. 2 of these women here are actually are actually doctors. And they just said, look, we've had enough hearing about death and destruction. Can we come? You guys look like you're having fun, stepping on nails and swinging hammers. So you may go up there flipping hamburgers with me. If you want to go in the field and do some destruction, you're more than welcome. So now COVID-19 hits. Here I am stuck at home. I've got 270 coveted N95 respirators. I stuck them in the back of my car, donated all the gloves I had, and I thought I was done doing COVID-19 as a Rotarian. It's something we've never had in the public. My son, who's a microbiologist, basically calls it SARS-2, and that's basically what it is. But it scared the bejeebers out of us. I thought I'd just sit at home and do nothing as a Rotarian, and I'm just being honest with you. And then I listened to a fellow district, 7620. They're actually doing what we call people that are at risk. They're doing groceries and deliveries for them. So I decided I could do something like that. So that's what we're doing. That's me on the right before I grew my beard. We're physically taking, for high risk, we're taking prescription medicines and groceries to their front door. They call a local number. We have a volunteer go pick it up. They pay for it. And then we go and drop it off. And then, of course, me being the dorky Rotarian, I always drop off respirators and drop off information about Rotary. So I've got about 10 of those little boxes all around my neighborhood. So anyone who wants a free mask, they're more than welcome to take one and then pick up information about Rotary. So the first thing I had to do is go back and set up a COVID-19 team, not people that can swing a hammer, but people that can actually do logistics. We currently have roughly about 400 volunteers waiting to go out there. So we've got as a Rotarian, I've got to train them. I've got to make sure that they know what they're doing. We've got a local number of people call in. And then so we're going to coordinate groceries and prescriptions for over 4.5 million people as Rotarians right here in Harris County. Now, how the heck we're going to do that? These are my 2 free commercials for Basecamp. Basecamp allowed us a communication tool. I'm going to pull it up for you. I've got a communication chair, a finance chair, a health and safety chair, logistics chair, marketing, and of course, volunteer coordinator. So Basecamp, I'm in sales for a living. This program's about $100 a month, and they donated it to anyone doing COVID-19. So if your district's doing something, which I see you guys are doing a $100,000 piece mask challenge, they'll give you this coordination piece for free. That's my free commercial for Basecamp. This is basically, if any of you use Lotus Notes, and if you use anything like that, I'm kind of old school Lotus Notes guy. This is like Lotus Notes times 20. I put different teams in different folders. I've got about 30 people signed up to communicate with each other, just the communications folder. My second free commercial is for Ring Central. If you call that number, it'll probably ring my phone while I'm talking. But that's the local number that they gave us. And then Ring Central did that for free. So if you're doing anything for COVID-19, I know you guys are an e-club, but if your district's doing anything, Ring Central is allowing us to use this for free until we're done with COVID-19, which probably for about 18 months. So the goal is for someone who's at risk to call that 281 number, which is local to here to Houston, and they'll get a volunteer, walk them through a form to fill it out and tell us when we can deliver the groceries and the prescriptions that they paid for. So this is supposed to be for at-risk, not for, no offense, stay-at-home moms and dads that are afraid to go out, but actual at-risk patients, or excuse me, our fellow citizens, not patients. So we've got Rotarians that are a little bit older. They're retired. They're answering their phones for me. They're putting this stuff into a mat for me. Disaster Aid USA, if you go to our website, you won't see a whole lot about COVID-19 because come June 1st, it's hurricane season. We've got 17 trailers geared to go respond. So not only do I got to somehow, as a Rotarian, deal with COVID-19 or find a way to be useful in COVID-19, we still have hurricanes coming. So we still have our trailers poised and ready to go. This happens to be the third. First you got on the far left, that's Dr. Bill, and our founder, Bob Grill, and then Russ Kuhn. So that's the West Virginia team. So we don't have anything up towards your district. The closest thing we have to you is Morgantown, West Virginia, and we've got a trailer down in Metropolis, Illinois, if something were to happen in your area. So I know you guys are doing masks. So just to give you a little brief history, we are taking donations, and I know your district's doing it, so I'm not taking it away from your fundraiser. That surgical mask that you see for $1 costs us right now 66 cents. The KN95, the price has gone down to $2.25 if I have to mail it to you, or $2 if you come pick it up for me. And then the N95 that no one can get a hold of is about $3.25. So to date, we've done 50,000 masks, and that's really should be another 50,000 because we just did a district grant for 50,000 masks. So I know your district has something, but if you guys in your local, I've got dentists calling up for KN95 masks. If you need anyone who needs masks, please let us know, and whatever our current cost is for a mask, we'll pass it on to you. So just to give you a little brief history, this is my district. This is District 5890. If you come to International Convention here in Houston, we've got 61 clubs that encompass everything from rural Brenham, Texas, which is number 4 up in the left-hand corner, home of Bluebell Ice Cream, all the way down to downtown Houston. Sorry about that. So this is what we're trying to coordinate. So disaster aid, though we're great at mucking and gutting, we're also great at organizing volunteers. So this is what we're doing in our district for COVID-19. and then Rotary District 7620. So I'm going to spend 5 minutes to talk about the big show, which is Disaster Aid International. That's our founder, Bob Grill. Though we love being international Rotarians, we also love helping people right here in the own states. So Disaster Aid USA is one of 8 countries that make up Disaster Aid International. So if you've got the passion and the time to travel international, we would love to have you. Those are the countries that currently make it up, and I need to add, I guess I need to add Brazil finally came on board. So when we deploy across the country, when I leave the United States, I go from Disaster Aid USA to Disaster Aid International, a recognized partner with Rotary International. Anything from floodings from Pakistan, Sudan, Horn of Africa, the Philippines. This is where we truly become international citizens and international Rotarians and go around and clean up after disasters. Now, water's my favorite part. And I know you look at a picture of this young man that in his right hand is actually water that he pays to have delivered to his village in Kenya, Africa. And then after going through the simple filtration, that's what it looks like. Those are the numbers if you want to check me. My source. So 1.1 billion people lack safe water and sanitation. We all know this as Rotarians. So what I say as a Rotarian, if your E-Club isn't, it doesn't have to be real big. You don't have to raise $50,000 for a water well. Let me show you a real simple filter that you guys can use. Sawyer filter, you saw me wearing the Sawyer shirt. This is something out of Safety Harbor, Florida. That retails at online or from anywhere from $39 to $49. We as Rotarians get it for $15 at cost. So if you ever need filters for a water project, go to Sawyer.com, tell me you're a Rotarian, and you'll get the very current price of this filter. I'm going to show you how it works. And this is what made me a believer, and I'm going to this one kind of irritates me, but that is not chocolate milk. That is not Pepsi. That is the water that Rotarians were passing out in Gilgo, Africa. That dirty water. And then water to the left of it is just this very simple filter. It filters out 99.99999. It does 1 million gallons before it wears out. So I tell people a bucket is $5, a filter is $15. For $20, you can filter 1 million gallons of water. So I'm going to play this next clip, Terry, and if the sound isn't playing, let me know and I'll fix it. Sound playing?
Sawyer's hollow fiber membrane water filters are comprised of U-shaped microtubes that allow water to enter into their core through tiny micropores while trapping the bacteria and protozoa on the outside. The high volume of tubes creates an enormous surface area, which results in a very high flow rate and less cleaning. In fact, the surface area compared to a ceramic filter is about 20 to 1. So the 20th time you've cleaned your ceramic pump, it will be the first time you have to clean your Sawyer filter. The all-in-one filter is great for emergency preparedness kits. The kit includes all the components to use the included 0.1 micron filter attached to a squeeze pouch, attached to your home faucet, or attached to a standard 5-gallon bucket. The build-your-own gravity system can yield up to 540 gallons of clean water per day from any fresh water source. If you're traveling overseas on a mission trip, you can always bring a squeeze filter and faucet adapter to ensure you have safe water on your trip. And then you can leave the filter and the bucket adapter components behind with a family in need.
Or better yet, Rotarians, when you're on your little bike rides and you pull into a campsite and the water tastes horrible, hook this up to the hose. It'll take care of everything. The last thing I'll talk about is they also do a 10-inch filter. We installed these just recently down in Mexico, right across the border, down in what we call Matamoros, Mexico, from Houston. If you care, that's 220,000 liters a day, which is over 50,000 gallons a day that will filter, and we get that for about $500. Everything else is kind of pie in the sky. This is the big sky hydrant. This does 5,000 gallons a day. This is hooked up in series, as you see. And what the older men are showing is the young kids on their way to school is those little balloons are on there. Every day they've got a backwash system that says no moving parts. last over 10 years. And we put these in all around the world if they've got a consistent water source, as long as it's clean water. This is kind of the water filtration system. And last but not least, again, not to compete with Shelter Box, we do a big family survival pack that goes out there. So if tents is still something you like to do, we still set up, I think last year we set up about 5,500 tents. For every one tent that we set up, Shelter Box probably sends up 100 because they are really poised towards tents where we really do more water filtration. This is my last deployment over to Haiti. Haiti is still a mess. This is me, as you see, with the Rotary Club of Patientville, setting up buckets. They've got plenty of fresh water. They just don't know how to filtrate it. I hate to say it. They're not very well versed on how to take care of it. That's us with the local Rotarians going around after a huge storm. That's our district governor. So when I truly say that any donations we give are given from truly Rotarian to Rotarian, club to club. This is District 7020 that we transferred $100,000 to so they could buy locally and then maintain what they were doing. Haiti's always in the news, but what we do is we work with the local, in this case, the Red Cross. This is the Haitians going around filtrating water. And I'm going to pull that up. That's the water that comes out of the tap. See how brown that water is? That's water that comes out of the tap. The left-hand picture, they call clean water in Haiti Culligan. So if they say, do you have Culligan water? They mean clean water. That's just a trade name. But what you see right there, that dirty water came right out of the Red Cross tap. The rest of the stuff is just us in Fiji, us doing some certain things. I'm going to quit sharing my screen here in a minute. The big thing that we do different, we call it Smart Aid. We were over in Fiji, and instead of us taking over 1,000 tents, what we did is we took $100,000 that was donated from Rotarians across the world, and we did called shelter repair kits. This is Craig Roberts. That's me training him to be the lead, and us physically going as Rotarians instead of giving out a tent, which is wonderful. We actually took the donor money and gave them back a shelter repair kit, which is they wanted to repair their homes. And of course, that's me running my mouth at a Rotary meeting, just like I'm doing today. Me getting a free dinner from a Rotarian, like I would do if you guys were a normal club. And then always doing the PR. I think the biggest thing we don't do in Rotary is tell people the great work that we do. So as corny as it is, we buy t-shirts for kids. We have them walk around with the banner just so that we can get the free PR. So here I am in other parts of the country. This is going to play through. So we'll do water filtration. Here, I decided to go ahead and rent a mill instead of paying for lumber. And I'm going to stop sharing here. So kind of what we do in disaster aid, everything from COVID-19 response right now. 17 trailers that go around the country working with what's getting ready to be hurricane season. If there's international deployment, we've got the funds and Rotarians available. We'll go anywhere around the world and assist where we're asked if we're available. So with that, Terry, who won the contest? So we'll answer those questions and go back. See how they did as Rotarians. Hopefully you're old Rotarian like me of 17 years, so you know all these answers.
Yeah, I think one of the old crusty guys named John kind of topped them all off there.
All of them.
He's a past district governor, and he's been around since Christ was a corporal. And
he types 164 words a minute, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so who got it like completely wrong? And who's new to Rotary? So you're in the Rotary Club, you're in the E Club, which is fantastic, and you're part of a district, and that district is part of a zone, correct?
Yep.
So you can tell me who won. I'll give up my Harley Davidson museum chip because I use it for I can barely ride a bicycle or on a bike. I'll mail it to whoever won.
Some of us are what we call honorary members because we're members of another home club, but we're all bikers, and so we all get together.
So who's in the Motorcycle Rotarian Fellowship? Any of you?
Yeah.
We're all in, yeah, all of us are.
Yeah, the whole club.
All right, good. Again, I can barely ride a bicycle. I don't know how you guys ride motorcycles. I'm so impressed.
But wait, I got a question. You see my background now, right?
I see it.
I mean, I'm in the beer fellowship. I'm in the wine fellowship. And about 4 years ago, I decided it's like, hey, there's no whiskey fellowship. So me and my wife started it.
I know, Terry, I know exactly who you are. You met me in Atlanta and gave me my pin. I knew exactly who you were as soon as you came on.
Good. Thank you.
I got that life member the first year.
Matter of fact, you kind of showed off in Atlanta. You had some McAllen 18. You had some fancy stuff in Atlanta.
We kind of splurged a little too much in Atlanta, I think. You know, in Toronto, we got a lot of stuff donated, so we were okay there.
I came to Atlanta. In Atlanta, you were geographically close to a lot of good whiskey.
Yeah. I knew.
Jack Daniel's just up the road.
So if you guys aren't in the whiskey fellowship, I'm actually impressed that we started it here in the States and we didn't let the boys from the Irish whiskey guys start it. So I'm impressed.
Huh.
Are there any other questions for me? I'm sorry. I guess I should go to chat. I'm not good at monitoring questions. Is there a specific question I can answer?
I didn't see any questions in the chat, and I just asked for other questions. So anybody else have any questions?
No question, but I'd like to say thank you. It was a great presentation. I learned a lot.
Really good.
You know, I'm in sales. The Zoom's kind of hard because you can't use your hands and do all the stuff I normally do on in a club. So I'm actually sitting on my hands when I talk, just in case you guys look at me when I turn off the share screen.
So I was just out looking at Sawyer water filters, but their website is not functional. Do you know anything about that, or is it maybe just a temporary thing, or?
Probably temporary. I mean, if Sawyer.com's not working, you may want to try SawyerInternational.org. And it'll show you all the different products around the country, around the world, actually, and all their distribution. Again, they're not Rotarians, but they give it to us. He's part of the WASH RAG, which is Water and Sanitation Rotary Action Group. He's an official member of that. So if you guys say, I'll pick a number, you collect $500 and want to buy filters and ship them somewhere, just call up Sawyer and tell them you're Rotarians, and they'll give you the current cost of those Sawyer filters. And so I'll stand up. I'm wearing their shirt today for them because they've got the best bug spray. It's Prometheus spray. You put on your clothes. It's good for 42 days or 6 washings. They've got the best sunscreen. I am a huge Sawyer fan, both of the water filters and all their commercial products.
Well, I just like to give them some support because they're helping us. And I just bought a house in Florida, so I'll put a couple of Sawyer water filters in.
What part of Florida? Because we've got two trailers down there. They're on the Miami side of the state.
So I just bought a house in Winter Haven, which is right in between there in Orlando and Tampa.
That's where the Cleveland Indians used to have their spring training. I'm quite familiar with Winter Haven.
Yeah, I just got a residency in downtown Winter Haven at Baycare Hospital.
Cool.
That's his new house in the back. Wayne, that's his new house in the background.
No, it's not.
It will be. You got some loans to pay back there, Doc?
Yeah, I just finished medical school, so I won't be buying any fancy houses for a while.
Well, thank you for your time and attention. I'll just listen as a fellow Rotarian and drink my drink. I'm drinking, not that you guys asked, but I'm drinking Deep Eddy vodka out of Austin and 7-Up.
Hey, Wayne, what's your email?
David, I'm drinking this. I think it's called like Three Musketeers or something, right? Three Musketeers.
Wayne, so what are we planning for the show in Houston, the international conference?
I tell you what, if Rotary ever leaves us alone and let us do our thing, my club, being the Sawyer Fair Club, we're going to host a big barbecue. So if you've never been to an international convention, I've been doing House of Friendship since New Orleans, 2010. I never make it to any of their meetings. I go to all the breakouts. I don't care about voting. That's where I learned about the Whiskey Fellowship. That was cool. Of course, Beer Fellowship and Wine Fellowship. Wine's fine. That's out of Texas. I think the big thing, I can't tell you something. There's a rum one?
There's a rum one now, too. It's still kind of getting off the ground, but.
Well, I'm a rum runner. I drink every rum known to man. However, in Houston, we've got 3 really big surprises, which I've been sworn to secrecy. But I would definitely make sure you go to opening ceremony. You may see someone fly in in an actual astronaut suit. Cool. It's going to be pretty good. House of Friendship, I'm hoping, Terry, is going to be set up. We're going to try to be, if you guys went to Atlanta was a lot of fun, and South Korea was more like we don't want to make it into trinkets and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping we truly have, local projects, the fellowships. And if you've never been to international convention, please come to Houston. I've got 1 room left in my home, probably for the president of the fellowship of the Whiskey Fellowship. You can stay with me. But especially since you're in E-clubs in different districts. District conference is supposed to be like mini RI conventions, and International Convention New Orleans is where I learned about shelter box and disaster aid. And I love going to the RI convention just for the House of Friendship and seeing, malaria projects, seeing people drilling wells, people that are the Rhino Pack that's got, 50 gallons of water that these poor girls have to travel through Africa to push water so they can go to school. So I'd encourage you. We're going to have 4 or 5 trailers going around the city that say disaster aid. We'll have a couple mock disasters if they let me. But I really encourage fellow Rotarians at least make it into Houston and come check out our international convention.
I think one of our members is planning a ride into the convention, a mass ride.
Really?
An incursion.
So where are you going to park those bikes when you get to beautiful urban Houston?
Anywhere we want.
Heck of a lot easier than parking a car.
In a secured lot.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Terry. Past District Governor Schneider, Chris Schneider's a big rider. So I have your email. I'll make sure that you've got Past District Governor from our district, and he's in a motorcycle fellowship. He'll make sure that we have proper parking for our fellow bikes.
Yeah, so that's what, 22, 23?
22, yeah, 22.
Yeah, we were very upset about Honolulu, especially my wife. We were going for a month.
Yeah, that one kind of hurt. I had a great Airbnb for next to nothing, and I had to let it go.
Yeah.
Wayne, I've heard a couple of people request that you post up your email in the chat, if you would, please. I think there's some people that would like to get a hold of your email.
Okie doke.
I heard the last name Schneider. That wouldn't be Ute's husband, would it?
Very good when you say Uta. Very good. She was. She can ride a bike. Chris can barely keep up there. She rides that BMW like a track star.
Yeah, where is she tonight? She's not out tonight.
She's not. We're pretty low tonight. Wayne, is she the one that brought you in?
To Rotary?
No, to our meeting. Is she the one that let you know?
I'm gonna have to look her name up.
Or Linda. It may have been Linda.
Sorry, Amanda. I went to you privately. I don't know how to do this. Everyone. Okay, let me change it. Everyone.
That's okay.
I'm trying to flirt with you online. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
She
so
is your member.
Did you know that?
Kohler did it for me.
One of our members. Kohler. Okay. So Uta is actually our president nominee this year. So she'll be president in 2 years of our club.
I almost told Chris I was presenting to you, but I didn't want to. I didn't know if you knew about the Motorcycle E-Club. It's the first time I heard about a Motorcycle E-Club. It's pretty cool. So it was Kohler who had me come speak for you guys.
I don't know who that is. I should know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who it is either, so don't.
Kohler Marguerite out of Seattle.
Oh, that's Linda.
That sounds like Linda.
Yes, Linda.
I don't know.
Seattle, it would be Linda.
Yeah, it's Kelly. Yeah, her Facebook name is different than her real life name. I think she gets kind of sassy.
There's too many stalkers out there, but that's who invited me and found me on Facebook. So it was pretty cool. And I usually zoom in before I present. I just been running around crazy, just trying to stay busy. Usually I hate to pop in and just do a presentation, but I don't ride bikes, so I don't have much to say. I'm usually, like I said, I'm the guy hanging on the back of the sissy bar crying as you guys are going over 50.
Wayne, I haven't ridden since high school. And they haven't kicked me out yet, so you're good.
I mean, when my cousin started his bike, it's 1,440.
But Amanda, for you, high school was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, definitely, Keith. Something like that. I got kids getting ready. One graduated from high school and one getting ready to.
All right. Well, I'm going to kind of, everybody can sit and chat, but I'm going to go ahead and start the four-way test. Let everybody that's going to close. And so the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Is it truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill, better friendship? And 4,
will it be beneficial
to all concerned? And 5,
will it be fun?
Fun. All right. Now we can chat all we want. I just wanted to. People are dropping off, so because we usually close at 8. So
we're dropping like flies. Hey, those of you who are left, the 5 of us. I am going to send out tonight a Google form in your emails. The form will be embedded, and it's your chance to sign up to be on a committee because I know you all want to. So
I'm already on a committee.
Yes, it's gonna be amazing. So
good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Night.
Thanks, Brian.
take care, Emilio.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate you being here.
Sorry about the being late, guys.
Oh my gosh, Brian. Ugh.
I know it's
Oh,
terrible.
how could you do that to us?